Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this live session from wherever you are. I'm Lucy Modoi from Nairobi Trust, and we are glad to be hosting you tonight on this webinar. Today is Suicide Prevention Day, and we have a team of experts here with me to help me unpack. So I'll just add them to the screen. And starting off, we have Lois, and we also have Leah from Nairobi. We have Ian, and we have Joseph. So my panelists, karibuni sana. Thank you for making time to share your insights and your knowledge with our listeners. And I hope by the end of this session, you'll have learned something. And our comment section is open, so engage with us, talk to us. Let us know where you're listening to us from. And if you have any questions, feel free to type on the chat box there below on your comment section. So karibuni sana. I will start with Lois. Could you kindly introduce yourself? And then Leah, and then Joseph can go next.
Okay, thank you
Karibu,
very
Lois.
much. Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be on this forum. As you've heard, my name is Lois No Okello. I'm a counseling psychologist and specializing quite a bit now for the last about a decade or so with relationships. That's relationships, work, relationship, organizational, spiritual, and also spousal. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Joseph, you can go next. Oh, I think he has connections problem. So Ian, go ahead. Ian, can you hear me? Okay, Leah can go ahead. Sorry, just a moment. I'm just adding Leah. So Leah, you
Player has multiple gadgets, so they are likely to produce a
yeah.
lot of
So
echo. No.
yeah, Ian, you can go first.
Mental health. Uh,
Okay. It seems there's someone with a lot of gadgets. Just a moment as we sort this out. Ian, you can help me also on the back end because I see Joseph is also back. You can add Joseph also. He's trying to join. Add him to the stage. Leah, can you hear me now? Just a moment. I think we have to remove one person so that I can have Joseph on the screen. Guys, just bear with us. We are sorting this out. So Joseph is on the screen now. So just kindly just introduce yourself so that you can hear from Ian as well. Hello.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Macharia. I'm a digital youth advocate for Nairobi. Uh,
Can you guys hear him clearly? No, sorry, Joseph, we can't hear you. Ian, you can go next as he sorts out his connection.
Hi everyone, my name is Ian Mutai. Hi Lois, hi Leah, Joseph, Leah. Thanks Lucy for hosting this conversation tonight. My name is Ian Mutai again. I work at Nairobi as a communications officer, but I also double down as a mental health advocate. I worked with an organization called Wabi Sabi Kenya, which primarily was a platform that offered young people the opportunity to talk about their mental health experiences, what they've gone through, as minor as having small anxiety attacks, to depressive states, postmortem depression. So ideally to give them the platform to tell their story, with the goal of reducing stigma around mental health and mental health issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ian. I don't know if Leah, you're able to unmute yourself now and speak. Hello, Leah. Okay, I think let's dive deeper into the conversation. So as we are in the back office just having a chat with Lois, we were talking about the importance of mental health advocates and mental health first responders in this space to take care of themselves. So one of the exercises we wanted to start with, so as to ground, is to just do 1 minute of breathing exercises. And I don't know if Lois, you can take us through that because Leah is not able to join us.
All right. I hope we are sitting somewhere where our feet are on the ground, if it is possible, that the both feet should actually be on the ground, and then the
Yeah.
possibility of sitting at least upright in a manner that would then be able to help us to breathe. Now, the essence of doing this is that you basically are enhancing the oxygen levels up your brain, and so we'll be able to breathe. And the breathing in has to be like a Pulitzer balloon. It's a Pulitzer balloon. We don't do the primary exercise where we used to breathe in, but it's like pulling air out. So what we need to do is we begin breathing in, hold it for at least 2 to 3 seconds, and then you breathe out slowly. So if we could be able to do that at least 5 times, and when you successfully breathe in to the level where you enhance, then it means you at one time feel like yawning. You actually feel like you want to yawn. Then you know you're successful. So we could begin on a count of one, of three, two, and one. Breathe in. Out. You can say a nice word as you breathe out. Like me, I've just taken supper. So great supper. All right, then 3, 2, 1, breathe in. Out. This is gonna be nice. Just interacting with people on this. And then we breathe 3, 2, 1. It's such a privilege to be on this forum just to alert people and advocate. We are doing it on 5 times. So that was number what? Lucy?
3.
Number 3. Okay.
Yeah.
On a count of 3, 2, 1, breathe in again. We appreciate the platforms that we have. I'm not hearing people saying nice things about this evening. That's on 4. Then the count of 3, 2, 1, breathe in. Such a privilege to meet new faces. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Lucy, are you breathing in?
I don't know whether Lucy
I
is
think
lifting her
I
head or
am.
breathing in.
I think my screen had frozen. I think my screen
Right.
froze at one point, but yes, thank you. That was That was very relaxing, especially after such a long day. And Ian and I have been sharing a lot of information online because of the kind of work we do. So that has also just helped us to just come back to ground. So could you
Yeah.
tell us why is it important to do that? But before we do
Um,
that, Joseph, have you sorted out your internet? I think not. Leah, are you? I see Leah is back. Leah, are you able to speak?
Hi, Lucy. Am I audible?
Yes, you
yes,
are.
Yes,
Hi,
you are.
Lucy. Okay, okay. Sorry for the technical hitches. So my name is Leah Wanjiru. I work with Nairobi Trust, and I also have a background in mental health. So I'm happy to be on this call today to talk about suicide, being World Suicide Day today. I think it's very vital to amplify and demystify about suicide prevention. Thank you, and back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Leah. We look forward to hearing from you from a Nairobi's perspective on how we contribute to just ensuring that these conversations are had. So back to you, Lois. Could you just tell us the importance of the exercise you just did, especially to the first responders in the mental health space, and to especially the mental health advocates in this space and the digital youth advocates in the ground?
thank you. I think the basic issue is relaxation, something that would make you relax, and particularly talking about oxygen levels getting to your brain after a very heavy, maybe a session or moment. And that is purposely because any trauma work, any work that is traumatic, has an implication on the physical person, the physical. And for you to be able to handle or to relieve yourself or the physical person, you have to do a specific exercise. You've got to do something that just increases the levels of oxygen circulation. It's just basically that. If it's a walk, it will be a walk, that breathing. If it could be stretching, anything that you do to help with the better circulation of blood and oxygen in the body. Yeah, great. Like if you've also been sitting for long,
Yeah.
it's very important to at least get up and maybe do as many as, if you cannot walk a step, but at least standing up and maybe just walking on the spot. Because sitting for after 3 hours, it's not healthy at all for the physical body. And when the body is kind of clogged up, then definitely your mind will also be clogged up. Your thinking then would not be really quite apt. And when you're not thinking, or rather when you're fatigued, then the next thing we will be able to see is the inability to make quick decisions, or maybe decisions that are helping somebody to understand a little bit deeper their issues. I think that's basically what there is. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lois. My apologies. I think my internet is really misbehaving,
All
but
right.
at least I can see you and Ian very clearly. So,
Oh,
Ian, how does this topic resonate with you? And tell us a bit more about the work you do as a mental health advocate at Wabi Sabi.
Um, so for me, mental health, I mean, I'm trying to remember how I came across mental health, and how it became something that I attune to and I'm very keen about. Um, to be honest, I think it must have been a relationship, a romantic relationship that went south, and I, I was struggling a lot, and I remember trying to find ways to cope by, and I came across therapy. And for the longest time, I had wanted to go for therapy, but I didn't think I had a reason to. Um, but then I started going for therapy, and spoke to someone about the issues I was currently going through, and I remember doing a lot of exercise. My therapist actually, I was referred to Lois to join this forum today by my first ever therapist. She's called Nancy, a very lovely lady. Um, yeah, so sorry about the noise, any background noise. Yeah, so that's how I got into mental health awareness, being very keen to understand where you're at, grounding yourself. Thank you very much, Lois, for the exercise we just did. And I came across a group of friends. One of the main founders of Wabi Sabi Kenya was a medical student at University of Nairobi. She had a beautiful idea to just tell people stories about their experience with mental health, what they've gone through, if they're still in the workings, in the mud, and they're trying to get out of the place they currently are at, or they've been able to successfully get out of the situation they were in mentally and they're much better. It's sort of just to share that, to really show that mental health doesn't have a face, doesn't have one face, and it can be anyone. It could be the top student in your class, could be the top employee who's going through the most successful person you probably look up to, could be going through a lot, and just because they put up a facade, and they feel they need to put up a facade, so we're trying to break down those walls through this storytelling. And I joined as a creative, as a photographer for that project, but I primarily it was a volunteer opportunity. So it's something that was it was very self-driven. I really wanted to help people to see the different faces of mental health. And I also got to learn a lot, and so many other different types of depressive states, for example, such as postmortem, where one of the ladies who shared the experience of not really wanting to be with their child. And this felt like a very foreign thing to me, and it was very interesting to also battle with the feelings of how I felt about that, and understanding that it's how I feel about it, and definitely not to judge the person who's giving their story. Yeah. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you so much. Leah, could you shed some more light about how Nairobits works with the digital youth advocates, and also the work that you do in the programs department, providing psychosocial support, before we go back to Lois?
Thank you, Lucy, for that. First, I want to say that at Nairobits, we put matters of young people at heart, and we are really keen to provide psychosocial support. So we basically work with young people from informal settlement, and we understand the societal challenges that harbor within the slums and the rest of the rest of the counties within Kenya. So from at personal level, I've had the privilege of witnessing mild to severe cases of suicide. Um, Having worked in hospital and rehab, I think I really know and resonate to what suicide is, and I really support young people talking, like talk. I cannot emphasize on talking because I know the much it can help someone. Because suicidal thoughts bottle up from today you being sad and keeping things. And this is also including masking things which bottle up and bottle up. And by the time you realize someone is suicidal, then it's just a flip or a trigger of something that makes them to, react instantly. So as a mental health advocate, I really echo on us speaking and also demystifying the narratives that surround suicide, because we both know that suicide is something that is not talked about. It's shameful within our society, and looking at the landscape of our today and also the advancement of technology, there's a lot of stress within our communities. So what I would urge today and to young people and to older population, yeah, is to let it out. In case you feel like you want to talk about it, in case you feel like you want to out. Back to you, Lucy.
I think, thank you so much, Leah. I think we almost lost you there, but we got the gist of what you mentioned as part of what we do at Nairobi and also with the Digital Youth Advocates. And I hope we are able to get Leah back as well as Joseph. So back to you, Lois. Let's now dive into what this day is all about: Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. And today is the day that we amplify this message. And the theme for today is start the conversation. And also, we are changing the narrative on suicide. Could you just help us understand what those words mean and why it is important that we change the narrative on suicide, and also adding to what Leah has talked about, us having conversations, also building on what Ian said. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I think I would I would even want to overemphasize, because Leah is bringing in an issue and an aspect on the changing of the narrative on suicide, because of this issue of silence. It's frustrating, it's painful, it's challenging, and sometimes it's really anger provoking because of the silence. That if only someone spoke, you would have saved a life. If someone had someone to speak to. You see, there is speaking, but then who are you speaking to? Because there is the issue of stigma and shame, even just to mention that I wanted to take my life, or I feel like not living. Now, even within the profession of psychology, we have to be constantly comfortable with asking someone the question, could there be thoughts that you have? Because it's not a very easy question to actually sit with somebody and ask them if they would want to die. And that has to change, and it is changing because we now have tools, even if you feel a little uncomfortable, because a lot of spirituality comes in. So there are tools that you may want to have somebody feel, so that you can actually see any subtle signs that they may really want to, they have lost hope of living. Now, having said that, when we talk about talking, do we have enough spaces to talk? Do we have safe spaces to talk? And if these people are talking, and then what next after they have spoken? So if we are to change the narrative, then we've got to create safe spaces. And I'm just excited. Being the oldest member here, I think almost a decade or two, I'm just excited to hear, because it's the first time I'm hearing some of this. And such platforms, I think, should be what we are putting on TikTok, rather than this interesting stuff that people put on about stuff that are not very useful. So there should be, a lot of, uh, you know, um, raising flags, raising peace flags, raising platforms. I really appreciate that. This conversation started last week, and even this morning there was quite a bit, because I do a bit of radio in my vernacular, and you still find people. Are there people who can even speak in vernacular, or speak in a language that people understand? Do we have advocates like Joseph, who can do Sheng, and be comfortable with it? So the language then is also extremely very important, because when a young person is coming and they are mentioning the whole concept of, they are thinking that life is hopeless, but a lot of us, especially the older generation, might miss. And I think that's what Leah was alluding to. The older generation need to at least know the terms that mean pain, frustration, or hopelessness in any language, be it even the young people's language. So I'm not very good, but I try keeping up with a little Sheng because I keep interacting with the young people so that I know what exactly is going on in terms of just the keywords that are important. Are they feeling pain, sad, frustrated? And then the other thing that is very key to me here when we talk about changing the narrative on suicide is knowing the differences in some of the issues that may cause a 20-year-old or a 40-year-old person to have hopelessness and what would make a young person, a teenager or a little child, become hopeless. And even when I think it's Ian or Joseph, it's Ian. You see, bullying or losing a girlfriend or being left kwa chokwamata, but is good enough. Is actually uh, painful enough for a young person to feel like they cannot continue with life because of shame and stuff, depending on what else is also going on. But if it is a person of say 40 years and they've been left, chances are that they've been left several times, so they would not go overboard when it comes to issues of being left by somebody they thought loved them. So then we have to really separate, because even exam failure can actually be a trigger to a young person when it comes to that they have not even got their mark. But for an adult or for someone who has done several exams, to them, that should not be an issue.